Alrighty. Well, welcome back to another episode of the 12 here. Oh, make sure that's on. Our epic campaign of discovery and adventure across the continent of Corvair. This story will stream live Sundays at 6 p.m. Central here on Javelin Entertainment. And if you missed the last session, you can check it out on the channel page or by clicking on the link down in the description.
Last time, Roland, Jasira, and Clyde were racing after the transformed Lady Lydia as she retreated into the dark cavern. The trail led them through an underwater passage that ended in some secret ruins. There they engaged in an echoed conversation with the lady as she revealed some of her intentions and purpose behind becoming a werewolf. Clyde brought up another tiny hut for protection as Roland and Jasira crept forward under the protection of invisibility. They also discovered some other women hanging around chains at nearby crevices. When they confronted Lydia herself, she was weak and lying in a pool of her own blood. The conversation became more aggressive until eventually Roland took a shot at the body, so we all know that Roland shot first. In response, Lydia began to raise up some sort of black orb. Jasira tried but was not able to finish her off before she could activate it, and when she did, it transformed her into an immense werewolf creature that leeched life from Jasira and tore into Roland. Both of them sprinted their way back to the tiny hut, where the crazed creature could throw itself at them, but they would remain safe. They were able to eventually kill the creature, which shifted back into the human body of Lady Lydia and dropped the orb onto the ground. Roland recovered the orb as well as a compass, locket, and a key. Jasira brought the rest of the party in, and they discovered a secret passage leading up into Lady Lydia's chambers. Her chambers also contained a lead box for the orb, a bandolier with 3 vials, and a recipe for a lycanthropy cure. After filling in the townspeople, the party gave each of the chained women an ultimatum of drinking the cure or being killed. Luckily, the 2 conscious women were convinced, and Greta decided to stay and act as a protector for the town. Our group packed up their new cart and began to head towards Tantamar. Will any of our adventurers transform into lycanthropic beasts? What is going on with these black orbs? What will our group find next on the road to Tantamar? Let's tune in and find out.
So for starters here, as you all are beginning to head on your way, if I could go ahead and have Sindri roll me 2 Constitution saves to GM, and Cade, if you could roll me 1 Constitution save to GM.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Did you have us bit by werewolves while we were gone?
So while you were gone, you guys had kind of gone off into the woods to try and track down the werewolves, and the werewolves turned out to be Lady Lydia and a group of the guards and chambermaids from the keep, who had taken on lycanthropy in order to protect themselves and the townspeople, but they had ambushed you in an attempt to kill you off for fear that you would spread their whereabouts and that the church would come hunting for them. The party was able to fend them off, but Sindri and Cade were kind of caught off to the side in a separate altercation with one of the creatures, in which point they took some damage and expended some resources. And so if you guys could roll those con saves to GM when you get a chance. But in the meantime, for the rest of you all, as we left off last time, you had packed up into your cart and begun the journey, trying to make it to Tantamar, where you had heard word where there might be a priest and where you might be able to find more access to the ingredients that you needed for a cure. However, making it in the 4 days before the next full moon would be a difficult trek, and it's already about late afternoon on this day as you depart. Is there any final things that you all would like to do before making your way out of the city?
This is before we leave the town where Lydia used to rule.
Where things happened. Okay. I don't think Clyde got his cart. He got his horses. They haven't gotten eaten yet.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yet.
Boko and Jasira would probably go talk with Greta and just make sure that she's doing okay and everything like that. And I don't know if they have anything specific, but see if she needed anything before they left.
Go ahead and give me an insight check, Boko.
Ooh.
And you can roll this at advantage.
Awesome. Oh, nice.
So
God.
looking over, you're actually surprised. There seems to be a big change in Greta where she is quite confident, and maybe it was the battle where she actually got over and used her weapon, but she seems to have found her place here, and you have at least a bit of peace knowing that she has confidence in what she's doing, but you kind of worry that you're not exactly sure what all will be in store for this town and what had been occurring and what might still kind of be in their future. But they don't seem to need anything else, at least from you. And after having packed up and finished the crafting and the interactions with the women who are chained up below, you all are pretty much ready to depart for the most part.
I do want to make a case that Greta probably should have leveled up a couple times, because he really went through some shit. She got eaten by a whale, thrown off, survived the maelstrom. She got attacked by dragon slayers. She got attacked by werewolves. She found the forest spirit. I feel like those are a lot of milestones, and I want her to be alive after all this.
We shall certainly see. All right.
And while you're at it, we also went through all those milestones.
You guys got to level up already.
Clyde will ask the party if anyone else wants to buy a horse, because there's 2 to pull the wagon and 1 for you to fight over riding. But he wasn't going to buy anymore, because for him, traveling requires the cart and then the one person to run off for rescue when shit goes really, really, really bad.
And they had mostly draft horses, but I do believe they had 1 other riding horse.
Yeah.
Which,
You originally said they had 2.
Yeah.
And Clyde took 1 of them.
So if anybody wants another additional one, otherwise it's walking with the cart or riding in the cart.
I'll ride shotgun with a rifle slung over my arm
All right.
on the coach.
Wow. Actual traditional shotgun.
Yes, except for without a shotgun.
Close enough.
I don't know how to ride a horse.
Sniper seat.
What was that, Nicholas?
Sindri does not know how to ride a horse, so he's going to definitely not be buying a horse.
All right.
Okay.
Then as you guys begin to head on your journey, I need somebody, and you guys can decide who, but one person needs to roll me a d20.
Okay. Is this something that could benefit from inspiration or no?
Or halfling luck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good question. If you would like to expend inspiration or halfling luck, you may on this, but it may or may not help. That's all I'll say.
I nominate Clyde because he's driving.
Oh, that doesn't feel good. All right, fuck
Second the
it.
motion.
Click. 17. It seems like it should be not awful.
All right, and if you can give me one more d20.
Ooh.
And 17 werewolves
Great.
pop out of the woods.
Together, they're 20.
All right. So you all begin to head off down this road, and it's already late afternoon. The sun is kind of on its way down from its zenith, and you're passing along this route, headed westward towards the city of Tantamar, kind of scooping a little bit to the south before it begins to head straight west. You all can see these different hills that grow up in the distance as you guys are heading kind of up into not necessarily mountainous terrain, but a bit more dynamic than the coast that you had arrived on. And these hills kind of dip down, and you guys had seen some of them when you had been near the farms, but now kind of passing through each and every one of them, the road kind of winds this way and that. And as you're curving around the corner, Clyde, you actually see a bright bolt of red and kind of immediately kind of instinctively reach for something, but then you notice that standing there is the kind of curled long hair of Anne, kind of just standing by the roadside. Well, it's about time you all showed up. Got tired of playing with your dogs?
Something like that. Got a ride.
Wonderful. And she just kind of steps up and spins around and sits onto the back of the cart with whoever else is inside. The others kind of...
You sure there's not room in between Clyde and Roland?
Just a little bit.
She cares
Clyde,
not to
scoot
be
over.
up on the front.
All right.
But the rest of the afternoon passes without too much of an incident. The road is fairly bare. There's some creatures every now and then, but nothing large enough to want to mess with your caravan as it's headed through. But eventually the sun does begin to set, the light of the moon shining down as evening has come, and you know that you'll at some point soon need to get a rest. And many of you still kind of struggling with the wounds and injuries that had been sustained from the fight. Would you all like to make rest now, or would you like to try and push a little bit further?
Would we be able to achieve any level of rest in the back of the cart and take
just gonna
shifts
say.
driving it?
Well, yeah, 'cause Clyde's not too fucked over, so he'd be willing to drive.
I
So
think our limiting factor is the horse's endurance.
Yep.
So the horses are draft horses, and at
Yeah,
least
so they
for
can go for a
around
while.
a week should be all right. You guys can get some rest, and by cycling through this way, you won't completely reduce everyone's exhaustion, but you'll able to minimize it so that only one or two people are exhausted at a time.
Then since we're a little behind schedule on making it to Tantamar before Moon Day,
Before Moon Day.
let's push.
Oh,
Yeah, we should
goodness.
probably push a couple nights.
Yeah.
All right.
We can like alternate the night, right? Like push one night, rest the next night, push the next night, rest the night before Tantamar, unless we're a ways out.
I think because we're only a few days, we could probably just ride the horses there. He was thinking. And just continue on. How far does Clyde think he can push these two horses if he swaps out the riding horse to give one of them a rest every few hours?
So it's not so much with these horses, the draft horses especially are more than capable of riding for 3-4 days without stop.
Okay.
Tantamar is right at about a 5 days journey, and so by pushing through the evenings and gaining some speed or gaining some distance here or there, you guys might be able to make it in 4. If you can make it in 4, they should have no problem. Once it hits 5, 6, 7, that's where they might start having dips. But for the most part, 4 days, they'll definitely need a rest afterwards. But that's kind of the point of their abilities.
Well,
Trading the horses in town.
Clyde's plan is we're going to get close as we can with the wagon, everyone, and then someone can go into town and start getting supplies if we start running out of time.
Also, if we hit day 5, 6, 7 without getting to Tantamar, the horses are going to be Scooby snacks anyway. So
Yeah, but this is all implying the horses make it past night 1. It's funny because the horses and Clyde or everyone else can sleep in the tiny hut.
Backing up real quick, do we know that, like, one scratch or one bite and you're done? Like, are we all infected, or what do we know?
You guys have no idea, one way or another.
The assumption is one is enough, and we need to get the ingredients for the cure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clyde has informed
Like,
the party that on night of Moon Night, he's sleeping in the bubble by himself.
Yeah.
So to shrink the second half of our journey down a touch, would it be possible for me and the Schalt riding in the back of the cart to just do the prep work for the majority of reagents we'll need? So like pull out the alembics, add the reagents, and have the Schalt just use as water to boil them?
Yeah, absolutely. During the times that you're not resting. You guys probably have enough space for one of you two to be doing that and about 2 people to be trying to get some rest in the cart. So as you kind of hit this evening, who is kind of guiding forward and who is taking their rest?
Clyde will push to drive during the day because he doesn't have night vision, so it'd be preferable if someone with night vision drives through the night.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Clyde, are you taking one of the first rests?
Is it nighttime?
Yeah, it is just now hit evening or hit night, and so you guys are trying to make these decisions.
Yep. Clyde will curl up down at the feet and will just snuggle up to Roland's foot. Pass out.
In the front. Okay.
All right. So again, you can have 2 people resting in the cart at any given time. So if there's one other person who wants to take a rest.
I have many holes in me from werewolves.
You want to fix that?
Fair.
I would love to. I'm just making my case.
I really like this in character. It's been about 4 hours and Boko just lifts his shirt. I have many holes.
All right, so
How many
Boko.
holes does he have? Sorry.
No.
You guys can decide if you want to count.
It's how many holes a shirt has. That's how many Boko has.
Oh no, my shirt.
All right. So Boko and Clyde are resting at the beginning. Who's kind of keeping watch or ensuring that the caravan is moving forward?
I think the majority of time we would have Jasira keeping watch.
Okay.
Just because her rests are so short and she has both dark vision and
A good
better perception
perception.
than a lot of us.
Yeah. Roland is just kind of like up at the front and half dozing for most of the time because his patch allows him to maintain alertness while resting. And he also doesn't have dark vision.
Okay.
All right. So making your way through the night illuminated by the distant moons, it seems to go pretty quietly. Jasira kind of sitting up at the front with you, Roland, as you're kind of leaning back. Clyde still kind of nestled around your foot as you kind of kick him off a couple times and he keeps curling back up and eventually you leave it. But it's a pretty quiet night. The early days of summer have hit and there's occasionally some bugs that buzz around, but for the most part, it's the nice soothing sounds of the forest. And eventually, Jasira kind of catches sight and she kind of gets your attention, Roland. Roland, what's that? And kind of points over. Does that look like a body to you? And Roland, as you kind of...
I will take a look through the scope.
Yeah, you pull up the scope and give it a just glance, and you can clearly see 2 legs kind of leaning out from behind a tree. They look to have boots, these kind of leather pants on them. But for the most part, all you can see is these legs. The rest of the body seems to be hidden behind the tree.
It appears to be at least half of one.
Is that...
I'll take a closer look.
How are you going about taking a closer look?
Just once we get closer, have Jasira stop the cart, and I'll hop off, stealth up to it, and check for signs of life.
All right.
From a distance first.
From a
Also,
distance.
I have a call coming in that I have to take.
No worries.
Going on mute.
All right. So Roland begins to kind of move up and check out this individual that seems to be nearby the road. In the meantime, Cade and Sindri, as you're kind of catching up with what has happened, getting the information from both the Schultz and some of the others as they're kind of sharing what had occurred. Jasira kind of fills in a bit as well about her trip inside of the cavern with Roland and with Clyde. But for you two, you had been kind of caught off to the side with one of these creatures, and between you and Sindri, it was relatively straightforward to take care of the creature, but both of you had sustained different wounds. And kind of looking over them, you can't help but wonder if there is a chance that you had been affected by whatever this curse is. There's still so much that you don't know, but the fact that there was some sort of cure is intriguing and a bit confusing. Your mind kind of wanders through as you're just kind of walking, and eventually, Kate, if you can go ahead and roll me 2 d20s.
Let's see. A 5 and a 16.
All right. Kate, you catch sight in the woods of a small light. It seems like something of a campfire or a torch just through the trees. The cart is stopped and Roland is kind of off investigating something ahead. But you're not sure exactly what is going on yet.
I mean, Cade would point it out to the rest of the group, or at least the ones that are awake. I'm assuming it's still night, right?
Yes, it's still the middle of the night. You guys have been traveling through the night for a couple hours now.
Okay, yeah. Cade would point it out to the people that are awake. And, you know, she'd be on alert, but she's also tired and weary and wouldn't get out of the cart.
Absolutely. And eventually, once Roland does come back, kind of for the moment waking Boko and Clyde out of their sleep, he kind of gives a report back of what he had seen. It seems that there's some sort of individual up further along the road, but they're no longer alive. They look to be like some sort of bandit or marauder with basic equipment, but there's about 3 of them, all of them with long, thin slashes across their necks or sides.
I mean, this is Roland we're talking about. The bandits probably don't any longer have those items on. Roland is probably carrying them like this is what they were wearing.
They didn't seem to be wearing much of anything. In fact, the pants and the boots, other than the like crude weapons that they had, were about all that they carried.
With focusing on the description that Roland has given, is there any implement I know that could cause that kind of specific wound?
Also, just inquiring about it, he mentions that it seemed to have been a very small knife or thin dagger. They were clean and precise. Something almost doctoral in nature, where it was extremely intricate, extremely precise, extremely clean, that these individuals probably didn't even know what was attacking them before they were dispatched.
Somebody's cleaning up bandits? This kind of sounds like a good thing. Like the opposite of a problem.
Doesn't mean they're bad.
We don't look like bandits, do we?
I was thinking about this earlier. Like, objectively, probably the weirdest thing you've ever seen, because you've got Clyde and Roland in the front. You've got me and Thashalt making potions in the back, sitting next to probably objectively the most attractive humanoid figure you've ever seen, and then Sindri and Cade somewhere in between.
And Boko, as you're kind of rubbing your eyes and looking around, you actually don't see Anne in the cart at the moment.
We've seen Anne carry
His hand of
red
vigilante,
blade, right?
Her name is the Crimson Blade, and she does have a very particular small red bladed dagger.
That makes a bit more sense. If she were involved in this in any way, I think there would be reason for us to go take a closer look.
That, and then begs the question, were these always humanoid or are these more werewolves?
That's a good question.
That she took care of because she likes us and didn't want us to die.
Or because she has plans for us and
That's a type of like.
dying.
Sure, we can all go walk towards the very not obvious trap. Let's do this.
Oh, Cade's staying in the cart. Cade is so fucking tired. She's not leaving the cart.
All right, so Boko, Roland, and Clyde kind of take steps a little bit closer, kind of still weary as you're kind of waking up.
Lantern.
Yeah. And it does shine a bit of light out, and you can clearly see three bodies. They look to have been at one point hiding behind some larger trees or brush, but now the bodies kind of lay half exposed. They're all in basic leather armor at most, if that, with not quite rusted swords and weapons, but not in well-kept quality. Some of them have face paint or braids through their hair, and a couple of them seem to be half-elven, mixed in with the other two humans. So for about 4 total that you see within this brush here.
And do they seem like a rougher sort?
Rougher how?
Like you said, they had their weapon. Like they don't go into civilization very often. They don't maintain their things.
Yes.
They don't. Yeah.
They seem to be living out in the wilds. Though they don't seem to be large and muscled individuals. They're very lithe and skinny.
Does it? What sort of? So, do they have any bows, or is it all bladed weapons that they have with them? Because Clyde, seeing this, would think that this is a forward party to make an ambush later on a well-traveled path.
It looks to be very similar. Roland kind of points out a few things that seem to confirm your theory. These all seem to be armed with melee or close quarters weapons, different daggers or short swords, a couple of wooden bucklers, but no ranged weapons here. And you kind of looking, it seems to be that there is, you kind of also catch that in the near, kind of between the trees, you can see a small fire, either from a torch or from a campfire in the distance.
Well, I think our good friend might have saved us some real trouble, but I think there's a lot more of it just over the hill. We might want to warn everybody else. They're going to come looking for their pals, and they're not going to take our word that it wasn't exactly us that did this. We got to go talk and see if we need to leave right now or take care of this before they find out.
Yeah, Boku will say to Clyde, he'll say, if this is something indeed that Anne is involved in, perhaps Roland and I should take just a closer look. See if these individuals were part of this camp and it is now uninhabited, or if there is something more to be learned here.
Okay. Clyde hasn't gotten a long rest, right?
No, you guys have been asleep for maybe 3 hours or so.
I have 1/3 level spell. Clyde will go, all right, you two go, but be extra careful and don't start anything you can't finish. And he's going to cast invisibility on both you and Roland.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, and then he's going to go back to the cart.
I'm going to put on the deer skull.
Okay.
Well, invisible.
Yeah, because it works like a cloak of elven kind.
Oh, we got some sneaky boys over here.
Let's see here.
All right, if you want to roll your stealth check as well, Boko.
Okay.
The two of you kind of softly sneaking through the woods, stepping around to get a closer look at this source of flame. And it is indeed a campfire. And there seem to be a few basic tents, some fur bedrolls that are there, and just an absolute bloodbath. There is blood across the tents, across the little logs nearby the fire. There are a couple dozen bodies that just line around this small encamped area. All of them basically armed similar to the ones that you had found before. Many of them missing limbs or appendages. It looks like there was a small scuffle that may have occurred, but it's much smaller than the number of individuals that lie unmoving here.
And these all bear the same injuries.
Very similar, not the same injuries, but the same source. Yes. In fact, almost every individual seems to have a different way that they died.
Creativity.
Experimentation.
Science.
And this campsite seems to be more like a makeshift homestead for these. You said how many people were there?
It's about a dozen. Not so much a homestead.
God.
This seems to be a very hastily put together, quick to break down camp.
It looked like anybody has gone through their things and searched, maybe like ransacked the place.
Give me an investigation check. So looking around, it doesn't seem like these individuals have much on them to begin with. Some basic traps and ways to catch or skin food, some small knives, basic mess kits and pots and pans. All of them seem to be there. And you actually do find kind of hidden in near one of the bedrolls a small pouch that has about 15 gold pieces in it and about 25 silver pieces.
Don't think this is what they were killed for.
But we can take it anyways. I've joined into David wanting to take people's money. Interesting.
They're already dead. It's not their money anymore.
I guess in that case, my fault. Probably not that bad.
And we didn't kill them. We have plausible deniability on
Even better. Wait a second.
Yeah, so to give Noah a quick catch-up, I guess, we have stumbled upon a grisly scene of essentially what might be just a group of bandits that are like nomads in this area, all completely butchered by the same weapon. And
any indicator of what kind of weapon it was?
A very thin blade that was applied with surgical skill. Also, and
like a hydro blade?
Yeah, or Blade Mommy is gone. So.
Oh no!
Yeah, who also happens to carry such a similar weapon.
Oh, that doesn't imply good things.
Yeah, if there's no sign of like, if this was just done for like fun, or like this was done with a purpose to like take something they own.
If there was a purpose behind it, you don't see the source anymore.
All right.
There's no empty lead boxes that are conspicuously larger than the black orb that used to be in them.
No, there's no lead boxes.
No infant children hiding.
Are you my mommy?
We just got rid of Greta. We don't need another one.
Oh my god.
Oh, Greta felt that.
Achoo.
Yeah, I'm gonna head back to the cart.
Yeah, just with almost this sick feeling in your stomach as the scene starts to get to you, and even the smell starts to hit you. At this point, you kind of turn away and begin to move off. And let me just check. Roland Boko, as you head off, kind of Clyde turning away to move off with you, the rays of the light from the lantern as it twists Roland, it catches and glimpses off of something, and you kind of move around to get a better look, and you actually see the bodies, they're in almost a pattern. It's kind of a helical spiral almost that was very difficult to see from the perspective that you had all come in, but if you could view it from above, the pattern becomes a little bit more clear. And
so we just walked into the opening scene of Game of Thrones.
No, I am getting such strong Orin vibes here from you, Austin. That smile is dangerous.
And what's even perhaps a bit more disturbing is it doesn't seem like these bodies were moved. You kind of slowly back into the trees and kind of turn to catch up with Boko and with Clyde, making your way back to the cart.
Can I do like a religion check or anything like that in order to see if I recognize the symbol or can tie it to any particular
or any sort of like
rite I've read about?
Any sort of story or tale involving this type of ritual?
And White Walkers, you know,
Roland, you, as you're kind of heading back and you see Boko and the deer skull walking in front of you, something suddenly clicks in your mind, and you remember a similar circular pattern that Boko had shown you across his hand.
So are we visible now?
You guys are still invisible. Sorry, that was more narration. I forgot that you guys were invisible. But just kind of walking back with Boko, this moment of clarity hits you. You kind of remember back to some of the discussion around the symbol and the knowledge that it's related to a religious sect known as the Blood of Vol.
Blood of Vol. Blossom.
Do you have anything to say, Roland?
I guess he would just kind of whisper out of, I assume I can, like, I don't know, see footprints in the leaves or something and know where Boko is.
Yeah, you guys aren't, at this point, you're almost back to the cart. You're kind of making more noise as you start to emerge back.
Okay. Boko.
Boko is getting in prime position to scare the ever-living shit out of Clyde now that he's invisible.
Oh, fuck. All right.
The symbol on your hand.
Oh, Clyde's gonna be so scared.
Boko will stop and he'll wheel around to the sound of Roland's voice and he'll say, What is it, what are you trying to tell me?
Think back to how the bodies were laying on the ground.
Just pull back the bandages a little bit, see if there's anything going on with the brand.
You kind of...
Here comes an interesting question. Can you see yourself while you're invisible?
You cannot see yourself while invisible. Just kind of thinking about it, though, and kind of placing your hand, because you can feel yourself while you're invisible. You can't quite picture it exactly, but at Roland's kind of insistence, you think back, and they might have been. You can't be sure, and it almost makes you want to go back and check, but maybe Roland is on to something. Maybe he saw something that you didn't.
How far back is the circle?
It's maybe 100 feet, 150.
Just run back and stand in the middle of it for a second.
Crunch.
Just on the off chance something happens. I'll throw a rock at Roland in his direction to break the invisibility.
Just chucking a rock in to try and break this spell and taking off in a soft sprint back to the location, kind of stepping up forward into the middle of these corpses. Go ahead and make me an intelligence check.
As I'm making that, Boko is just gonna see if anything happens here. He's gonna just undo the bandages on his hand, try to stand at the center and just place his hand at the center of the circle and close his eyes and see if anything really speaks to him.
Okay.
And you said investigation?
Intelligence. Just a flat intelligence.
Intelligence. Okay.
As you begin to unwrap the bandages standing here, there is this soft vibration that you feel across your body. And there is a hum across the palm of your hand as it gives a soft, gentle, reddish glow. And you place it down towards the center, and you can feel a connection to some sort of latent power here. And you know that you're just missing some piece of it. There's something additional that you need to do or need to know to be able to activate whatever this is, but you feel the connection.
Boko is going to plop down and almost as if it's like a separate sense directly in the middle of these, almost as if he had been trained his whole life to shore up this exact circumference. He's going to sit down, he's going to pull out the ritual dagger, and he's going to nick a little bit of his flesh and drop into a meditation and see if he can feel these spirits passing over.
All All right. Roland, Boko had gotten your attention. Were you planning to follow after him, or were you staying at the cart as he headed back? Okay. So as you walk up, you kind of see him interacting with this gruesome scene as he goes to sit down and pulls out a blade. Is there any actions that you're taking?
I am going to keep my eyes outwards to see if anything comes from the woods for him while he's looking inwards.
Okay. And I guess that is me to give a perception check. Okay. So Boko, as you carve into your hand here, the shadows again begin to darken around your vision, and it was already dim light around here, but there was the light of the fire, and the fire seems to dim even further, just to embers, but those embers brighten. Rather than the orange and soft yellows, they turn a deep, vivid red. The corpses around you are also outlined with this reddish, glowing mist that seems to clarify the symbol that you now find yourself standing in. As the darkness grows ever closer, you're entering into this trance that you've done hundreds, if not thousands of times, and it is similar, where you can feel these spirits, these pieces on the edge, but you don't feel one coming forward. In fact, all of them feel more distant, where you can feel their presence and kind of see the moving shapes, but you can't see the individual specters like you normally can. But there is a strong power that you're interacting with.
Boko is going to turn his attention to the sort of protective circle and see if he can see if anything is sitting on the outskirts of it. Because you said there's a lot of distance, right?
There is. Give me a perception check.
Okay.
You look out and you can hear these whispers at first. These tendrils of these specters or remnants of what was here. You can hear the sound. It's at first difficult to make out what it is, but then you hear the reason it's so strange is because typically when you would be in a battle, it's the sound of sword on shield or blades meeting blades. This one is just the whoosh of air as blades miss, as people struggle, the sound of bodies hitting the ground, the sound of flesh being cut and carved and severed, and the screams of the individuals left. You can feel that this, what happened here, but it's almost like watching it in reverse as the final body that creates the inner circle, you see kind of raising back up. And you see this spectral red mist dancing around it. Another body standing up and moving away. Another body standing up. It's an arm reattaching, a leg pulling back onto a torso. A line across a neck where blood is gushing slowly. The blood seeps back into the neck and the line is sealed as that red mist kind of pulls back across the neck. Like watching all of this in reverse of what had happened as these individuals fell one by one by one, all danced around, all manipulated to where when the bodies fell, they aligned perfectly into this shape. but there is no clear picture of whatever it is that is causing this. But you can see the faces of each of these individuals, these bandits or marauders or whatever they may be, whoever they may be, humans, elves, half-elves, women and men, the horror all clear across their features. You stand in a place where their souls are bound and where their souls were utilized for something.
Are they all gone? Or are their souls, are any remnants or any frightened fragments? Is there anything left of them?
What you're seeing is exactly that. The frightened fragments that are left of these depleted, almost dispersed souls. But they are bound to this spot. They cannot leave. They cannot escape. And there is just this terror of this scene replaying out in front of you.
Is the figment, the red mist, do I get the sense that it is just a placeholder for what was here, or is this a spirit that I could reach out to?
You're not exactly sure. At least not yet.
I think, having seen this cycle through one after the other, I think Boko will try to approach, and almost as if reaching out to grab the shoulder of somebody as they're walking ahead of you, try to reach out and see if he can interact with this red mist.
Go ahead and make me one more intelligence check here. You go to reach out a hand, and at first, this entity, this mist, it's far too fast, and it just dances away in its movements. And it takes you a while to track down and to understand its patterns, as they seem too fast to even catch up to, and then you remember that each of these individuals is following in a pattern. And you go and find spots of this pattern where you might be able to wait for this entity to cross. And it continues to dance and move and fade. What you can't help but feel almost a beauty as you are drawn to it. And then it comes towards you and you know your time is there, and you reach out this hand and you grasp whatever it is, or as much of it as you can, and for a moment it's coalesced under your hands. And you see not this red mist, but this dark shadow illuminated with this bright streak of white, and at the top a skeletal face or a skull hovers, like part skeleton, part specter or shadow. And as soon as you get this glimpse briefly into this form, it continues on its pattern, its dances. But for a moment, you felt it shift. For a moment, it had almost perceived you or perceived something. It was like you had reached out and touched the past here. Before it continues on, and you're realizing that it had hit some space that it was now spinning forward. That as this scene had reset, you see as this specter had emerged initially from the woods, this red mist had caught the first few unaware before going through its dance. And you watch as this scene unfolds around, dropping individual by individual into this space, and this red mist then sits exactly where you sit now in this central space. And you feel this power, this presence, this bright blue light, almost a white blue from the inside of this red mist. And you suddenly are in terror as all of the bodies around you, their bones rip forth from the form and begin to hover in the air in the shapes of that pattern. And you are pulled fast and violently from your trance back out, and you see now for the first time the spaces where the bodies are ripped and torn differently than where the blade had struck, and you look and all of the bones are missing.
Boko is going to do... He's going to do the first thing that he was taught to do as soon as you exit a trance. He's going to try to break the circle. He's going to move over and just grab one of the bodies and start dragging it out to break the circle.
You drag the body out, and it's gruesome, and your hands are immediately covered in gore and blood, but no other adverse effects.
And he's going to look over at Roland, and he's going to start heading for the fucking cart. Also, I noticed your word choices. Very interesting choice of words you use there.
Roland, as you had been observing whatever this was, the darkness had kind of swirled and closed in around Boko until it was suddenly dispersed, and he just dragged this body away to break this pattern before just immediately walking past you and out towards the cart. You look around and there is no sign of any one or any individual, and you're uncertain of exactly what he had seen.
I think Roland is currently out
is
of
he?
call.
Not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he follows after you, a bit confused, but trying his best to catch up as you get back to the cart and you all continue along this road. Unfortunately, the early summer brings rain, and the rain comes down heavy and hard on you all throughout the night. The dirt path begins to get lodged with mud, and the horses trudge through the cart, slowly turning in the thick path. Though you made
Out
up...
of curiosity,
Uh-huh.
can I cast Walk on Water on the horses? So that it's not as difficult.
The difficulty comes from dragging the cart.
There is a lot of levels of this. So you can. It doesn't really affect the difficulty much, because even though it helps with the watery portion and helps them kind of walk on the watery portion, it's still the mud itself, which is the kind of the difficult terrain. And even with them kind of hovering on the water portions, the mud in the terrain still adjusts as they take their steps. So even if you were to kind of attempt this, it does seem to kind of delay it. Unfortunately, the time you all make up from the pushing on through the night is relatively brought back to neutral from the rain and the storms. But by the early morning, it does seem to let up as Boko and Clyde... Actually, Boko, roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Boko, your mind was filled with thoughts, but you had eventually found some way to get to finish your rest, despite swarmed by all that had happened. And so, Boko and Clyde have completed a long rest. And we'll say, since David is still out, we'll say that Roland goes through and takes a rest for the next portion. Thashalt, Sindri, or Actually, well, since it's the morning, we'll have Jasira as well. Kind of go through their long rest together, and that way we have everybody who's here. So on to the next day with the rain kind of abated briefly. I need someone else. Why don't we have Boko with that fun experience? If you can go ahead and roll me a d20.
You've been rolling so good. Keep up the streak.
Why did you say that?
I can't help but tempt
I
things.
blame Clyde. I blame Clyde.
No, not Clyde. That was definitely Adam.
I blame Adam and Clyde.
And go ahead and roll me 2 more d20s.
Oh.
Okay. So continuing on through the morning, within the heavy mist of the rain-departed morn, Boko up at the front, kind of keeping an eye through this mist, you start to see the form of an individual, slightly taller than Sindri or Clyde, but not quite as tall as a human. It seems to be a stout shape, looking like a dwarf. That starts to emerge. It seems to be just walking along the path, but your cart is starting to catch up upon it. If you're talking,
able to hear me now?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
There it is.
All right, sorry, my mic just died and I was trying to plug it in and everything. You said there's a dwarven figure?
Yeah, there's this shorter, stout shape or silhouette that you're catching through the mist that seems to be a dwarven individual that is walking this road, but a little bit further in front of you than you all are. But you guys are beginning to catch up on to him.
And it's still raining.
It has just stopped. There's kind of that thick mist after a rain in the early morning.
Who else is awake at the moment?
Clyde's awake.
Everybody but Roland and
and
Jasira.
Yeah.
He'll just like draw Jasira's attention and Roland's attention. And as they get closer, he'll call out to the figure.
The figure kind of stops and turns. Oi, who's there?
You are walking this road. Is it safe to be doing so?
That is not an answer, Boko. We're just a couple travelers.
Aye.
About yourself.
Well, you could consider me a traveler as well. And as you look, you see just a completely muscled individual, a sleeveless leather jerkin, no real armor, but this heavy backpack where 2 handles of axe blades extend out. This dwarven male has a thick red beard, a large mustache, and these curled red dreadlocks tied behind his head as you see this individual just addressing all of you. It's good to have some company out here. What's your business? Where are you headed?
Boko looks at Clyde.
Clyde. Well, Adam looks at what's the town's name? Tantamar. Hey, we're heading to Tantamar for now. What about yourself?
Yeah, I've heard there's some demonic gates up north. I'm headed through Rich Deep and then headed up towards Thassos.
Demonic gate? Come
Yeah.
again?
Who knows what it is actually, but you know the rumors on the road. Someone says a gate from hell. Gets blown up in all sorts of ways, but I'm gonna see what it really is, if there's any devils or demons that need to be sent back down. My name's Amofa.
Well, nice to meet you, Mofa. I'm Clyde. This here is Boko, and there's a bunch of other people back here.
The punchy one behind me. This is Jasira.
Hello, punchy one. She kind of gives a nod back.
This demonic gate you speak of.
I thought Jasira was asleep.
She was woken up by Clyde. Her and Roland were whenever they saw the...
What?
the figure.
What? Boko woke him up.
Oh,
Don't
Boko,
put this
sorry.
evil on Clyde.
Sorry.
Why did Boko wake them up?
Jasira only needs 4 hours.
But I think it was just because they saw an individual and just wanting to be ensure everyone was awake.
Sure.
Okay.
But yeah, they're kind of groggy and they kind of settle back down, at least for now, preparing to see if they can go back to sleep after assessing this individual.
Yeah, Boku will say, These talk of a demonic gate. You say it is opening. Where is it opening?
Well,
north?
rumors say it's in the city or village of Thassos. Oh, it's a bit north after you, so we're headed west. It's about a day's journey to Rich Deep, and about a day's further west before the road turns up north towards Thassos. Tantamar, you said, that's further west.
Interesting.
Very strange. Well, is the place you're heading and same route we're heading? I think we got enough room for one more.
I appreciate it, but I prefer to walk on the ground.
Yeah, then we'll keep you company on the way.
Yeah. I'm always glad to have more people to talk to. It's rare that I find individuals for more than a day or two. You all travelers of some sort, are you... don't appear to be merchants? Adventurers?
Of a necessity.
Some people would say adventurers, others would say misfortunate souls.
I know the type. And it's difficult to kind of assess the emotions on this individual's faces. Even when they're talking, you can't see their mouth move under the thick hair of the beard and heavy red mustache.
Probably just share stories back and forth, see if anything interesting comes up in stories from his end.
Wait, Clyde's going to definitely see what sort of information we can get from... He seems very well-traveled. He knows the
More than
local...
us.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and give me, we'll say a persuasion check, Clyde.
All right. Would this be counting as... get information from people or disseminate news?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And you said persuasion?
Yeah.
All right. 23.
Oh, no.
Is there any type of information that you're trying to guide this towards, or just anything that he might know, or just encouraging him to talk more?
Clyde's going to try and get info on Tantamar and the path west where we're trying to go. See if he knows of any incidents or things like small towns that would be more friendly to travelers, anything like that. Trying to prepare us for once we hopefully keep heading west past towards the mountains.
Well, from what I can have heard, most of the stories are usually along the coast of things happening, such as pirates and raiders and creatures. The shore, the coastline, it brings in a lot more issues. Tantamar is a city, so it's got its own issues, politics and such. I usually steer clear of it, so I don't have too much information on that. But as far as the villages and towns, there's not too much outside of the road. Most of the people gather by the major trade routes. So once you head west, right now we're on our way to Rich Deep, and after that is Tantamar, still heading west. If the road there turns north towards a small village of Cinna, nice farming folks there, and then on towards the Ice Needle forest. And just outside of Ice Needle is an old ruin. Sometimes there's some folks that hole up there. It's got big walls, and so gives a bit of protection. They used to call it needle thread, if I remember right. Once you hit that forest, it's up towards the northern parts of the continental portion of Lazar, or west towards the Mrorholz. That's the Dwarven Mountains, if you're not familiar.
I haven't been there personally, but our friend in the back, the little big one, he's been around them.
You could head south before Tantamar, but there's not much down there that's not going to get you into some sort of trouble. It just heads along the coastline down toward Arapetra. That's about the farthest you can go without either sailing or navigating through the forest. But if you can manage to do that, there's also a large city of Cliffscrape. From there, you can take ships to just about anywhere. Of course, you can probably do that from Tantamar too, and it's much closer.
Yeah, I think our best bet's going to be no more ships for just a little while.
I don't blame you. I always like walking on the ground myself.
Also, quick question. Just on the off chance, would you happen to have any mandrake root or bloodgrass on you?
Well,
That is a really good question. I mean, we could pay. We're not just asking for you to give it to us, but if you had it, that sure solved quite a few of our problems.
I don't have any mandrake on me, unfortunately, but I've got a little bit of bloodgrass. If you guys give me some company and some food, well, we can call it square.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll give you some of the good old moonshine. We'll have a fun night.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. And he gives you about enough for an extra dose's worth of bloodgrass.
Perfect. Do you have these in your inventory, Boko?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I have
just want to make sure.
3 complete. Well, I say complete minus the mandrake root.
Yeah, we have no mandrake. Yeah, 3
3
sets.
complete drafts, and then if we can score some milkweed and some bloodgrass, we can make a couple extra.
And King's Foil. Or unless we got a
You
bunch.
got plenty of that.
We have.
Okay.
Yes.
Came later, sorry.
Yep, it did come later. All right. And as you all continue through, you find that the mist kind of sticks around. And unfortunately, for a good part of the day, you're making slow progress. Between the mud that's kind of slowly hardening over and the thick mist, it's difficult to move fast. You're a bit behind where you want to be as the afternoon kind of goes and the evening starts to move forward. Jasira has been up for a little while, and Roland awakes as well. Between Thishult, Sindri, and Cade, which two want to take a rest next?
Cade will go for a rest next.
I'm okay with taking a rest now too.
All right. And let me make sure that I get all of his stuff back. 3. Okay, cool. All right. So Sindri, the last one to kind of push through before getting a proper rest. Still no sign of Anne anywhere. Would you all continue with Amofa as you're traveling down? And eventually, as you the sun starts to set, you're kind of up on the hills and kind of down nestled in a valley. You can see the lights of a small village, which Amofa tells you is Rich Deep. If you decide to push through the night, you guys could be there in a few hours. Or you can make your camp here.
Is the ground starting to dry?
The ground is starting to dry, yes. And in fact, by this point, it's pretty much all been dried back to normal after the day in the sun.
I want to try and push then, and if it starts to rain again, then we make camp and then let the horses rest for a little bit. But Clyde would like to try and push the draft horses a little bit harder.
And if we can make it to town, get a decent night's sleep, we might be able to trade the horses for fresh ones.
And looking down on this town, you can actually see where there seems to be kind of a wall. And it's kind of in this valley, but the town itself is kind of built up on a hill in the middle of the valley that kind of overlooks some of the nearby places. And so pushing forward, Amofa kind of a bit confused at why you guys are so insistent, but decides to continue on. Thishalt, can you go ahead and roll me a d20?
I can indeed. Just a flat d20.
Yep.
17.
All right.
Pretty good.
So continuing forward, you all make some haste down to the village of Rich Deep, and do kind of find that you are able to kind of make up the small delay from the mist that you had, and so you're roughly on par for your overall travel, where it's still going to be a bit difficult to make it in time before the full moon, but it's at least still within the realm of possibility. But you come across this smaller town, but with at least a relative sense of some security. All of the guards here, if you can even call them that, are very similar to the kind of level that you had seen within Cape View, where they have basic equipment that they're facilitated with, and a standard guard shift that seems to rotate in. At least this one actually has some sort of wall built up around it for protection, in addition to the natural environment around it. As you all come into this town, is there anything you guys are doing? Are you trying to grab a rest or swap horses, or talking with anyone, or are you continuing through?
I think if possible, Clyde would try and swap the draft horses.
I'd say if you guys wanted to, let me see. Yeah, if you guys want to kind of trying to switch out for the horses on the road, it costs about a gold piece per horse to kind of swap the breeds out after they've kind of looked over them, made sure that they're of the roughly healthy equivalent. This is a common practice for travelers maneuvering on the road, and so you expend a couple of gold pieces and do get 2 new draft horses to continue on your push.
Take those out.
Are you guys deciding to rest within the town, or are you going to continue to push throughout the night?
Does anyone think does it look at all like we might have a chance of finding any of our ingredients here? Or does it look like a kind of rinky-dink town?
It'd be difficult. If you want to try, it's a high DC for sure.
How many do we need? It's me, Roland, and Jasira for sure, right?
You have no idea.
I think we should get one for everyone.
Yeah, we should probably try and get one with everyone.
It's the pandemic. We all get vaccinated.
What Clyde is going to suggest is the party take the wagon. He will stay, try and get the ingredients, and take the riding horse and meet up with the party.
Ooh.
It's not too bad. If we push ahead, are we going to lose our traveling partner?
Yes, absolutely. He is definitely going to take a rest here as he kind of goes to get a room at the small tavern.
And he has some of our ingredients.
You guys already got the blood grass from him.
Yeah. We had a good time, gave him food.
Well, in that case, screw him.
Company.
David missed. There is a hell gate opening to the north, so that might be a problem. Okay.
It's not great,
but that's like not our problem yet. Well, the problem with going south.
You also missed Boko finishing the ritual with all the bodies, and then dragging a very clearly boneless corpse out of the circle. Interestingly enough.
Boneless, you say?
Boneless indeed.
Yeah, and you hadn't noticed it at first just because of the way the bodies were mutilated. But upon kind of inspection, after Boko had kind of dragged this body and left very quickly, all of the bodies that were at least within the pattern, were no longer had the bones within the bodies.
Gonna have to take Anne fishing.
Well, maybe she just wanted more knitting needles.
She couldn't find the right one.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I don't think this was Anne.
Well, to make them really work properly, they have to be a matching set, so you whittle them down from 2 matching femurs. Or, fibias.
Boko will definitely say goodbye to our traveling partner before we leave.
Clyde will go have a drink with him once the party leaves.
All right, sounds good. Clyde, go ahead and give me a Constitution save.
Oh, sure.
While Clyde's drinking and grabbing horses, we're gonna...
That
shouldn't have been an advantage, but yeah. A 7.
Didn't matter.
Alchemy reagents.
All right, kind of stocking up on a few things. You all continue to push on as you leave, kind of bidding your goodbyes to Mofa as Clyde and him head towards the bar to begin drinking. The rest of you continue pushing on, and it's a relatively calm evening, quiet night throughout the forest as you make your way down the hills and valleys back towards relatively flat land along the coast towards Tantamar. As you are about maybe just the initial bits of light along the or just before, as the night is just beginning to turn into early morning, you're coming along a path, and the overgrown trees along the side, you start to see these stones along the path, almost forming a small wall that has kind of fallen over the years. And Kate is the first to see it, but a few others as well catch this light coming through the trees. This isn't like a fire... isn't a firelight like a torch or a campfire, but a bright, almost arcane light that pierces through the trees.
Is this the same light I saw before?
What?
Is this the same light I saw before?
No, the one before looked to be like a campfire, and you assume it was the same one that Boko and Roland checked out. This is very different. Rather than the kind of oranges and yellows and the flickering flames or flickering light, this is a constant, consistent white, yellow light that kind of pierces through. And kind of taking and getting a glimpse at it, Cade, you actually see shadows dancing between the trees, and you can hear some distant sounds. Can't quite make out what they are, but you can see them kind of up ahead.
Yeah, Ma pointed out to the group. We're all kind of like feeling pretty beaten down and, worried about turning into werewolves. I don't know that we're necessarily going to stop and do things.
And you all can see this light kind of continuing as you pass by these louder sounds of kind of shouts of an individual and the sounds of some sort of conflict, but kind of continuing on. Cade makes a good point that you may not want to get involved in things along the road, trying to make good time here.
As Cade is making the very good point of we might not want to get involved if we're trying to make good time, Roland doesn't even tip his hat up. He just reaches up, grabs Boko by the belt, and sits him back down.
Nope.
Seat belt.
Boko's actually been sort of in his head for a couple days after this whole shenanigans with the bodies, but
Isn't this just one day?
No, this is about 2.5 days into the journey
Okay.
now, or a little over 2. It's just
Since
in the
the bodies.
morning. Yeah. No. Since the bodies, this is
Okay.
the bodies that you had found were kind of about a day ago now for Boko.
Okay, that's what.
But yeah, Boko seems kind of a bit out of it, thinking as you don't have to restrain him nearly as much as you had intended. And as you begin to quietly pass, there are the sounds, and again, those lights as something happens in the distance, but you all pass by,
something happens.
continuing on the road.
Watch, that was where the legendary weapon was that we could have had early.
And continuing on for today's journey, let's see. We've had Nicholas, are you at your computer? Do you want to go ahead and roll a d20 for us for today's travel?
Yeah, I can do that. Designing a circuit for work while listening, so I need to pull stuff back up. There we go. So, 12.
All right. So continuing on through a solid day, the travel seems to be moving well. Actually, go ahead and roll me 2 more d20s, Nicholas. Sindri is kind of...
I don't like the sound of that.
Wouldn't have to do it every time.
Well, isn't that one? I don't know if that's relevant for this.
We're gonna find out.
So continuing
Fall
past...
back.
If
this-
rocks fall, I'll fine. You people can die. I'll be happy.
Continuing past the sounds of whatever it was, you go on about another couple of hours through the early morning light as the sun starts to rise, and eventually you find this kind of bog, this thick tree filled kind of swamp area where soft mist is kind of still laying across the lowlands here in between 2 hills. As the road kind of carves by, you can kind of see down into this bog from a height, and you can see in some sort of conflict again as these various creatures, what look to be perhaps like goblins, are just swarming over this area of the swamp. But it's a good 150, 200 feet away, you can see from above, and the road kind of curves around.
Clyde's gonna chime in at this point. Are all of your roads so dangerous and filled with conflict?
Clyde's not here, but no tentacle monsters yet.
I mean, the one that kicked all of this off did come from your area first. Just saying.
The question for the most part...
150 feet away, you say?
Yeah, about that.
Did anybody pack fireball?
Just-
Rise in half-caster, by the way.
And Kate, as your question kind of hangs a little bit unanswered, you kind of just think back to what you know of the world, and the principalities, even on the continental side, is roughly the edge of the not even civilized world, but past that. These are frontiersmen, anyone who lives out this far, and it is well and common to have various creatures or unsavory individuals confront you across the roads, and why many of the pirates stick to their own islands or to the seas. But you all...
Yeah, the pirates are like, fuck that, we'll just drown you.
You all continue on, again, passing by whatever is occurring in this bog for speed, and continue on along the road. As the morning shifts to about midday, Clyde, you find yourself foggy as you awaken, your eyes kind of stinging, trying to put the pieces back together of the night that you just had, as you look around and you're not in the tavern. You find yourself on a roof, on a building, maybe about 2 stories above the ground. You kind of look around and nobody else is around. You're trying to piece together what happened.
Does Clyde have his pants?
He does. You seem to be clothed.
Oh.
Clyde's the only one that would try to outdrink a dwarf.
Oh, yeah. And think he was going to win. Clyde's going, I hope this is... Oh, I'm late. Okay, I'm going to say I couldn't find anything. I got to go.
How are you getting off the roof?
He's going to jump off.
Okay.
And cast Featherfall.
Okay. So just hops off, just floats down. As you're floating down, you see a man kind of walking by in these kind of heavy leather jerkin. As you drop by, you nearly collide with him, and he kind of like turns around and is like, where'd you come from?
I was taking a drunk nap. Don't worry about it. He needs a little bit of roof work done, though.
Sovereigns help you. And he kind of turns and begins to walk down away from you.
And Clyde's gonna go searching for his horse.
All right.
Hopefully it's at the tavern.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Sure.
It says, hey, why the long face?
I can re-roll that. I can re-roll that. That's better. That's much better. It's the first time I've ever remembered to use this ability.
Oh, goodness.
Couldn't find it because...
Clyde, also give me a religion check.
Oh.
Sovereigns help you.
They're not gonna.
No, they're not gonna. Okay, yeah, you just somehow feel drawn to this portion of the town and find your riding horse is kind of half tied to this random tree, and you're just like, all right,
That's where I left you.
Yeah.
Meant to do that.
You look around, no sign of a mofa, no sign of whatever it was that occurred, but you kind of untie it, begin to hop on and head down the trail, trying to catch up with your friends, knowing you're well late.
Just like, must have been a hell of a night. All right, gotta go fast. Come on.
Gotta go fast.
As you ride along, in mid-afternoon, about an hour into your ride, you pass by what looks to be like some sort of cemetery. You see a few graves, some of them kind of half dug, with a small building or mausoleum going by, and you you continue riding by, trying to put out whatever strange things you may have thought you saw. Continuing on, you wrap through a couple hours, go by before you get to a bog, and seems quiet and stable. Continuing on, it's another few hours, and as the evening kind of wears on before you finally catch up to your party. and it is kind of right before, right as the night hits. Takes you kind of all day to make up the time, but you guys have stayed roughly on pace. You're maybe a day and a half out from Tantamar, with one full day before the moon's hit.
No, I searched every single house and asked everyone in that town. No mandrake.
What is the population of Tantamar?
Tantamar is a city, so somewhere in the thousands, ballpark.
So plenty of manpower to kill a brand new pack of werewolves that show up at their front door half a day late.
Very possibly.
Ooh, how are we gonna make it this half day?
So, I mean, the simplest way is pushing through another night.
Yeah, just keep going as fast as we can.
All right. I think everybody has rolled, so I'll leave it up to you guys on who wants to take the next D20.
Who didn't fail?
I hope I didn't. I rolled like a 17. Do y'all want me to roll it?
I started it. I'll finish
Okay,
it.
fair enough.
What is it? That's
Okay,
Nice.
Out of curiosity, Austin, in all that we were learning about werewolves, do we know if this is considered like a disease or something like that?
You all haven't done any kind of like intellectual educational study. All that you guys have kind of done is just relay legends and myths about these creatures. Because as far as any of you knew up until a few days ago, they were supposed to have been extinct from at least the continent, if not the world. And so everything you kind of have to go on is mostly conjecture. And so knowing exactly what the definition of these things are is difficult to fully capture. But you guys haven't tried anything to figure out what it actually is.
Been able to find a library.
Okay.
I mean,
Next
we
question.
found a library. We just left very quickly.
The recipe we found, what was the title? Was it just like werewolf cure or like
It didn't
Did it have a
have
title?
it didn't have a title.
Werewolf.
It was it was essentially a alchemical check between multiple individuals kind of looking over multiple of the party kind of looking over the ingredients and trying to put together what the effect would be, and within the context the closest thing that they could determine is that it would likely be a cure for lycanthropy.
Okay. After Kay doesn't know if this is gonna work, but after she gets a full rest, you know, that was after like day 2 of traveling. I think Kay finally got a full rest. I will attempt to cast Lesser Restoration on myself, just out of like, can't hurt to try.
All right, you want to paste lesser restoration for me?
Sure.
All right. You kind of take a hand and hold it to your chest for a moment as you focus in. There's this surge of magic as it passes over you and you cast the spell. And you don't seem to really sense or feel anything. And then there is just this turning of your stomach, this heavy knot, and the blood just rushes to your face as you drop down to your knees and just begin to hurl out as this emanation out of you just spills out that is filled with bits of darkened brownish fur and black goo.
Oh.
Like a giant
Okay.
hairball.
Yeah, you see Kate kind of contemplating something in the back, and then quickly she hops off the cart and starts puking her guts out on the side of the road.
But that doesn't make sense. I'm the one that got drunk off my ass. Wait, never mind.
Boko like does this really weird crouch over it and goes, "What did you eat?"
Clyde starts to speak and then does the little like, and then she kind of gets it under control. I think that is lycanthropy.
Clyde's gonna poke it with a stick.
You poke it,
Does the
jiggles a
poke
little.
back?
I really hope not.
Why did you have to use the word jiggle?
It's goo. It's relatively gelatinous.
As much
And
as I
what's to
hate
go
to,
next?
As much as I hate to experience that, I think it would be for the better. Hit me.
All right, we're gonna do Roland next. Kate kind of like casts a spell and takes like 5 steps back.
You charge up the energy and move and begin to press your hand towards Roland's chest as the magic begins to take hold. And then the kind of bluish green coloration of your magic suddenly gets these streaks of black and red as there is this forceful emanation. You were kind of tossed backwards about 5 feet. And Roland, you seem unaffected.
What's in the fucking box, Roland?
Do me next.
As I'm sitting on my ass. What the fuck was that?
Well, now it's a 50-50 if it works.
If it does not work on Sindri, perhaps this is some kind of curse that can only be removed from oneself.
Well, I suppose we can give it a shot. And I will cast it on Sindri, knowing that Sindri would have been affected by the same werewolf that I was affected by.
All right. You step over using another usage of this spell, kind of pressing it into Sindri's chest. The magic pulses that same blue-green and kind of settles in over him. The spell seems to be cast. And you kind of take a few steps back and wait. And wait. About 5-10 minutes go by and you keep looking around. Sindri's just kind of, I feel good.
Did it work? Am I fine?
Well, out of 3 experiments, we have 3 different results. So
Who wants to be number 4?
inconclusive.
Bogo points to Jasira.
Yeah, because Jasira got affected by the same werewolf I did.
Okay, real quick. So, Austin, did I feel like the magic, like, I felt like it took effect on Sindri, as opposed to being blocked when I tried it on Roland?
Yes.
Okay.
I can be the last one because I was affected by every single one of those motherfuckers.
Except the one that Jasira and I fought.
I only got bit the once and, lucky tooth. Wait. Yeah, still there.
Lucky tooth.
Okay, so I think I'm fine because of the furball. The magic seemed to take effect on Sindri, so I think Sindri likely resisted it to begin with? I don't know. It definitely took effect, as opposed to you, Roland, where it felt blocked.
Let's see.
I mean, that makes sense. I'm very tough. And it looks at Roland. And you're you. He gives you a big smile.
Boko leans over to Sindri and goes, "However, can you imagine how big of a werewolf you could have become?"
Give him ideas.
Yeah, but I don't do the hair.
He would have been a Siamese werewolf.
That sounds worse. Like, I think
not
people would
Siamese,
rather see a large version of beautiful
Sphinx.
me and not
Sphinx,
werewolf monster.
yes. Sphinx werewolf.
Sphinx werewolf?
Like
Hairless.
Sphinx cats, they're the hairless cats. Siamese cats are the cream with the brown tips.
I mean, we could probably find an actual Sphinx, but I think they might be immune to werewolfism. Is it only humanoids?
Only one way to find out.
Exactly. But Clyde, let's find a Sphinx.
Sindri.
Okay. Back on topic.
Jasira.
Okay, which werewolf were you bitten by, Roland, since I wasn't there?
Lydia.
Big
Okay.
After she
werewolf or
did
stuff.
her mega transformation.
Oh, okay, so you were head honcho. Who else?
Jasira got hit by her as well. Try Jasira, see if you can get the same effect. That's from me. Just maybe brace yourself. And I'm gonna go walk 30 feet away with the orbs in my pack. Which also, over the course of the time that I was up, could I have been tinkering with one of the boxes to be able to like create compartments so I don't have to have the two massive boxes in my pack at all times? Like
We'll
taking
say,
out a layer of lead from the side of one of them and then just slotting it in.
yeah, we'll say that you can definitely have started on that project for sure.
Okay.
So-
Okay. So, wait, did Jasira get bitten by the same werewolf or not?
She got a
Lydia.
cocktail.
Yeah, a few different.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Kate, you've cast this 3 times? How
But
many?
She definitely got the absinthe rinse of Mega Wolf.
Okay.
Kate-
Okay.
I just had a straight up shot of absinthe.
Yeah, Cade will sit down. She's like, I just want you all to be aware that if we have to fight anything, I'm going to be tapped. Just making this clear. So you better save my ass if anything comes to bite me in the night.
All right, well, you
Cade-
coughed up the hairball. You can sleep in the tiny hut.
Cade's gonna sit down this time and like gesture Jasira to come over. And out of 2nd level spells, Cade will cast Restoration as a 3rd level spell and see what effect it has on Jasira.
All right.
I'm going to be over 30 feet away
Okay.
with the orbs.
Sounds good. So you channel this same energy once again, that kind of pulse of greenish blue light that seems to rest on her and seems to be cast successfully. And then about 30 seconds later, this kind of even more paleness comes across her skin as she also begins to kind of hurl and spit out this blackish goo just with these this bits of brownish hair similar to yours.
Okay, that's reassuring, I suppose.
Poke. Clyde's just collecting the hairball and the thing.
How does the
Where are
jiggle
you
compare?
where are you collecting these?
Or in an old oil flask.
You're just grabbing the hairball and stuffing it in an oil
Just-
flask.
Just
An oil flask is a very small stopper. So like you got to grab a stick and like shove it in if you want it in there. Like you can do it, but it's like trying to fill a toothpaste container with conditioner. Like it's not easy.
I'm frightened at how fast you came up with that.
Ew! I don't want to anymore.
You don't have to. I'm just trying to put this in perspective. Like this is a semi-viscous hairball that you're trying to put into an oil stopper.
Okay,
Yeah,
who's next?
Boko, he got every single one of them.
Yeah, Boko got the Cosmopolitan.
Okay. Yep. Nope. Kate is still sitting down, and basically Kate has taken up a sitting position, like away from the vomit, and then like every time she casts it, she directs people over to the vomit pile.
This time, when you cast it on Boko, I'm gonna sit next to him.
No, this time
With the
Clyde
orbs.
pulled out an old cooking pot that... Here, open this.
Oh god. Okay. Yeah. No. Kate casts it on Boko.
And I'm sitting next to him. I'm experimenting too.
You're sitting next to him just for kicks, or you said with the orb? Are you with the box or like with the orb out?
With the orbs in the box, like exactly how it was when I repulsed the magic.
Okay.
Keeping the variables the same.
So yeah, just the orbs in the box, just standing nearby to Boko. As
Yeah.
Where you cast that here, hold these strange full lead boxes.
as Cade presses the magic into Boko, once again that flare of greenish blue light, it seems to land and dissolve onto Boko, and she steps back, and you kind of stay standing there. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Boko doesn't seem to have any reaction.
But there was no black.
There's no black. There's certainly no repulsive energy like that one that knocked back Cade.
There's no way I succeeded on all those saves.
Maybe there's like stages of it, of like low stage can be taken out with lesser restoration, medium stage.
Or
requires
maybe some
something
of our
bigger.
party had just been like licking the werewolves and they had a bunch of hair and that kind of has disease.
Or maybe if you die, the disease is removed.
Except Roland
Okay.
didn't die yet.
Yeah,
I-
so
Was this the same feeling as Sindri, though, where I felt the magic take effect?
Yeah,
It just didn't seem like there was anything to purge.
It's the same as you, the same as Sindri, the same as Jasira. All four of those have all been relatively identical. The only one that was different is Roland.
Okay.
Up orb, isn't it?
So, I think, theoretically, my magic has felt like it has taken effect on everyone but Roland, which means that Jasira and I purged the disease, and theoretically Boko and Sindri resisted it in the first place. Theoretically, not really sure. I feel very good about Jasira and I. I can. Thashot, were you affected?
Well, I do remember I got a little bit, but I don't think I feel anything right now, do I, DM?
No?
No. It seems perfectly fine to me.
feel fine.
Okay, sorry.
He's a werewolf.
The question was he bitten or scratched at any point?
I was. I got
Every single person, I believe, was either bitten or scratched in some way.
I got bit when I engaged the big one, and I got bit once as I tried to push him back. That was when I got the bleed in. We basically traded blows.
Okay. Do we try the shot just for safety?
Do you have the ability to cast again?
I have one last casting of it.
Could we?
How far away are we from Tantamar?
You guys are about a day and a half. If you push through the night, you could theoretically get there before the moon's rise.
Could I take my pack off and not have the orbs on my person, and we try it again?
And you guys, where you guys are currently, you can see in the kind of fading light that there does appear to be kind of a road that diverges, where the one that continues off towards Tantamar continues towards the west, and there's one that kind of heads off in a northerly direction as you're getting to kind of the base of these hills and back towards flat ground along the coast. But yeah, Roland, if you want to try it again with taking off the orbs, you can.
I kind of want to. I also want to, I don't know, cast Identify on myself beforehand or something. I don't know. I don't quite remember exactly what's in my spell sheet, so I think Identify would be the only thing that would be anywhere close to helpful.
Yeah, you have Command, Identify, Bless, Healing Ward, Absorb Elements, Alarm, Disguise Self, Prepared. Looks like.
Okay. After the next long rest, I could probably do, like, Detect Disease. I think that's a first level cleric spell.
Is that a spell?
Is it a spell? Or am I thinking of Detect Poison?
It's probably Detect Poison. I don't know if Detect Disease is a spell, but I can look at it. You do have Detect Magic, or Protection from Evil and Good, or Purify Food and Drink, or Sanctuary, or all other things.
Detect Poison and Disease.
Is it and Disease?
Yes.
Oh, fancy.
First level divination. Cleric and Paladin Ranger.
Okay, yeah, so tomorrow morning I'm definitely going to be doing that on myself. If I get flung back again.
Why don't you detect all of us just to be safe?
Yeah, absolutely. Is it a ritual spell like Detect Magic?
Yes.
Yeah, no, tomorrow morning we're going to sit down for a Kumbaya session and Roland's going to touch each of you for 10 minutes.
All right. Are you guys pushing through the night for now?
Wow.
Then, or are you making camp here?
Am I doing my last spell on the Thashalt or Roland?
Think safely on the shot.
We can do Thashalt now and then let me
Roland
get
in the
a before and
morning.
after on it in the morning.
Okay, so, okay, Thashalt, you're next. You either get a hair bath, or if you have a cold, it'll go away too.
That's good. Yeah. I'd rather it be the second one, to be honest.
Okay, yep. My last upper level spell will go towards the Thashalt as a preventative measure, and if he's got the sniffles at all.
All right.
I'm so glad we have you for our main healer.
As you cast it again, kind of feeling your energy get depleted, and the exhaustion of the travel starting to set in, the energy pulses once more and lands on the Thashalt. You wait a few minutes, and the Thashalt, you seem to be doing all right. You don't feel any different.
Well, I do feel like my sinuses are a little better. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Cade looks like a little peaky, just like, coughed up a hairball and then, cast around a lot of magic.
Fully expended energy.
Yeah, all out his first level spells left. So, yeah, Cade's gonna, shuffle back to the cart and lay down.
Understandable.
All right. Are you guys all
I'm gonna have to talk to the orb to find out what's going on, aren't I?
Are you guys
the
all
party,
going to take a rest here, or are you pushing through the night to try
are
and
we
still
going to
make it
rest at the
Tantamar?
crossroads, abandon the Hell Portal quest line, and go west to Tantamar? Which is probably the smartest for us, but maybe not for this land.
Hell Portal questline is definitely going in the notes.
Well, that's north.
Oh, yes, we can
and the
come
other's
back
west.
for that. Nothing will happen while we're gone.
Right. Right.
Also, though, I think if we bring a super werewolf to the Hell Portal, that won't go well.
We can have werewolves.
I think we gotta resolve. We gotta resolve the lycanthropy quest line first.
Yeah, fair point. As we're traveling, could I use a little of the extra king's foil and make Cade like a nice warm cup of king's foil tea or something that is
Sure.
a little bit more refreshing?
Yes, absolutely.
Since she just spent everything she has to save our asses.
All right. So through the night, Cade and I guess Roland, to be able to change his spells, are going to be doing the long rest while you push through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then we'll have. What was it? It was Clyde who rolled the last one. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Clyde, go ahead and roll me one more d20.
Oh, okay.
And then the Schultz, roll me a d20.
Uh-oh, Clyde.
Can you re-roll it?
It'll be fine.
I don't think I have inspiration, so
Will it, though?
no.
Will it though?
The Schultz, give me one more d20.
Okay.
Roll again. That one's already been
boy.
taken.
I think I
Okay.
did that one already too.
Okay.
Okay, no, not on this table.
So, as you all are continuing to push through the night, the carts moving through in the darkened night air, as you reach the crossroads where or moving past the initial crossroads where one heads north, you actually get to this spot approaching the coast where the roads seem to diverge and one heads south. And where this crossroads is, there is a small village. Only a few houses with a small wooden palisade wall around it. But as you begin to pass through, it doesn't appear like there are any guards near the gate, and the gate seems to be open. Riding into this village, it's very quiet. Just the initial light of the morning shining through. And that's when, Boko, you and Clyde at the front of this cart see it. In this deserted village, there are two knights, both with blades drawn, covered in different mud, kind of on the outskirts of this small village. And within the center, this strange creature. It looks back and forth at each of the knights before it curls up its head with these long horns behind it and just lets out this horrible howl into the night. Just.
Is Roland awake?
Everyone wakes up from that.
Now.
Yeah. It is a very distinct sound that cuts through. Why is this not showing? Why is it showing all gray?
I'm in the process of kicking Roland off of the cart to wake him up. When he wakes up.
I'm off.
And then I pretend like I am not doing it.
I was awake.
Did Roland and Cade get a full rest, is the question.
No, this would have been before the. Oh, there it is. I don't know why it took me forever. But this would have been before the rest completed, unfortunately. And as you guys are suddenly jolted awake. Boko and Clyde get the first glimpse of this creature, but it stands like a humanoid individual, but about 9 feet tall, with just this extended head that's almost wolf-like, but with no eyes, and these tree branch horns reach back behind long ears. These devilish fangs extend out of this overly opened face, and you see a horse as well as a townsfolk just kind of lying in the mud from unmoving, with blood spattered around them. This creature doesn't seem to have any clothes, but it's covered with these thin, short spikes across it, as its knees are kind of bent down in different directions, as it stands there, kind of just sniffing and facing off towards the creatures. And you all are about 30, 40 feet away from them as this howl goes out. What are you guys doing?
Can I get a bless off before initiative?
You coming directly out of sleep? Not yet, at least. It depends on kind of the actions of those who are already awake for this.
Okay.
Remind me, who else awake?
So everybody but Cade and Roland were awake.
Okay. And this thing is, well, I guess it is. Yeah, whole person's probably not
I was
bad
muted
start.
that whole time. Clyde, while we're seeing up's going to make a snap decision that the devil thing's probably the bad thing in this conflict. It's going to try and cast hold person as we're riding up.
Okay.
It makes, if it's humanoid, see if it'll work.
Where? Oh, there it is.
Also, rude. Did you just assume it's alignment?
No, it's just a little too spiky.
See, the thing is, in nature, spikes are generally a form of defense against a larger predator. So what we really have to be worried about.
Well, then I want to hold it still so the predator can eat it and not me.
Eat it
Fair.
and not me. Okay.
We don't have to outrun the bear, just have to outrun you.
Especially if I cast hold person on you.
Sorry, it looks like I didn't have... Where is this?
Now, everyone. The National Park Service has come out and said that throwing your friend down when you're being chased by a bear is not the right thing to do.
Yeah, but they're paid to say that.
It's not right, but is it correct?
I mean,
At the moment,
Big bear, so.
you're probably better off trying to look big and make lots of noise. And get the fuck away from any cubs if they're nearby.
Okay.
And pray that it's a friendly little black bear and not like a
big
grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Or a polar.
Okay, if it's a polar, you...
Than that.
Okay.
So as you launch this out, just extending out this claw, go ahead and make an attack roll for me.
All right.
Oh no.
Oh my god, come on, dude.
Yeah. Where's Jasira?
No, this time it's right in the direction of Boko, as this hand this claw sends out, and Boko had been rushing forward, kind of hitting the spikes, is kind of in the midst of pulling back as the claw grazes into him, and let's see, you currently have Boko grappled.
And you said, is Boko currently being attacked by this thing?
Yes. Well, at least it had a response to his attack on it.
Gotcha.
It is currently trying to attack the knight.
Wait. How big is Boko? Boko's still medium size?
Yep.
How dug in are you, Boko?
Do you want to fight him hand to hand?
No.
I am technically not very, because this thing just shredded me.
Oh, so you look bad.
I mean, I don't look great.
All right, I've got an idea.
He always looks bad.
I'm going to retract the hand.
Like,
So
it's
there's-
meant to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I'll play it. Don't worry.
As he just pulls you, reels you back in towards him, Boko.
Oh,
Can I release him from the hand at least, so I can get him back?
Absolutely.
Okay,
As you were deposited there.
I'm gonna look at him and be like, "Hey, man, you're gonna be more careful." As I step in front of him. Here we go.
We planned this. Also, I just want to go on the record and say, the amount of allies that has not hit Boko the list is rapidly dwindling.
Hey, mine was strategic. I made it spin into a win.
He meant to hit you. That's
It
what
was
he means.
all according to plan.
I think the list is Clyde.
Yeah, it's Clyde. Because I don't make attacks.
Yeah,
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna step up, use the action, bonus action, and yeah, I think yeah, that's it.
All right, sounds good. And Boko, just from the pure impact of being just jostled around by this thing, you do take another 3 points of bludgeoning damage as you were just whipped back by this claw, but you are out of range of this creature as the Shalt goes to step in front of you. And that'll bring us to Cade.
I got you, fam.
Rapidly losing hit points, guys.
What's new?
Okay, Cade's just like, oh, fuck, I just wanted one night's rest.
You had a night.
And I did not get a full rest yet.
No, it was a couple nights ago.
Well, yeah. Okay, I can see from here. Yeah, I mean, so Kate doesn't have anything big and flashy. She will... Oh, I guess I'll assume archer form and take a shot and then follow it up with a Toll the Dead.
Okay. Go ahead and give me those rolls. And it's a wisdom save for Toll the Dead? Ooh.
That was not supposed to be an advantage, but I'm assuming a 21
still hits,
hit.
yeah.
Okay, let me turn that back to normal. And then... Really, spells? Did you go wonky again? I don't know why it always resets to spell card. I have not figured out how to fix that. Try that again. Okay. That's not the right saving throw either.
It shouldn't matter. I believe it fails.
It's a DC 15 save. I'll fix that.
Oh, it worked for me. I don't know why it didn't work for you. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So 12 and 12, 24 points. Nice. Just these two blasts out, one of Radiant and one of Necrotic, that just slam into both sides of this creature as it gives out another howl and turns to face you.
Oh, yeah, no, Cade's like... Ducks back behind... I don't know where our card is. I'm assuming
No.
You guys should be able to see the card. It should be right here.
Yeah, this is the card.
Oh, okay, that is the card. It's just on like a
different layer.
Yeah, it's on like a translucent
I
layer.
think it was a bridge.
I think the vision is a little bit weird. I think I tried something different with the dynamic lighting, and it's strange.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah, no, Cade steps back for cover. And it's just like, fucking hell, I just want some sleep. And that's my turn.
All right. Jasira, why did that not update? There we go. Jasira is going to maneuver around the cart. Let's see. 25. Can get about that far. And... yeah, she's going to go ahead and use a quick burst of ki to get up closer to it. And she will make 2 quick attacks with the bless on. It should be just a martial attack. Whew! We'll see if that bless helps. D4. Okay, so the first one hits. And that will be for 9 points of damage. And unfortunately her blade she does hit the creature, and so immediately takes 2 points of piercing damage and then needs to make a dexterity save, which she should be pretty good at. Oh, not quite good enough though. So she will take a 5. So another 5 points of piercing damage. There we go. From her attacks there. And she'll do 1 stunning strike, see if she can stun the creature. And unfortunately it passes. And that is it for her turn. Sindri, you're up.
Sindri, as he... Come on, there we go. I had my measuring thing up. Sindri's going to start rounding the corner, and as he does, he's going to get larger and larger. Crap. How far can I move? Because I'm moving diagonal. I can get up to near Boko. Okay. As he walks, he gets bigger and bigger. And how big is the one thingy that we're fighting?
It's about 9 feet tall.
9 feet tall? Okay. So Sindri, as he gets larger and larger, and he reaches the normal height he gets, but keeps getting bigger. And by the time he reaches behind Boko, he is 28 feet tall as he casts Enlarge on himself.
Oh my god! I'm just gonna look back. On second thought, I'm changing the order. He goes in front, then me.
Okay.
As Sindri turns around the tree, peeking over the tree, and looks at what now to him looks like a tiny little plant creature.
Last time Boko saw this, Sindri running up on him, very large, Boko was turned into a golf ball. No.
And as Sindri comes around, just this massive form, he kind of steps through and crunches down on one of the horse's corpses lying on the ground, but is this immense creature towering over the houses. And at this point, the one knight who is on the offensive is kind of caught off guard and doesn't realize who he should be going after. Anything else, Sindri?
No, that'll be my turn. We're winding up for turn 2 action shit. So
all right, Clyde, back to you.
Clyde will move behind Sindri.
Very easily done.
And then, don't worry, we're here to help. And then he's going to take a shot with his light crossbow on the demon, giving Roland the ability to make a shot.
Okay. Let's see, and there are allies within sight now.
Also, did I successfully hide
yes.
with my bonus action on my turn?
Yes, you did. So it is at advantage. I think I've got everything triggered.
And then bonus action, I'm going to give Bardic Inspiration to Sindri because he's so damn large.
Okay, so I should have Bless and Sneak Attack on, and then I've already coded in the Piercer feat for the rifle.
Perfect. So that hits, and that is 14 plus the 8 from Sneak, so 22. Just another shot, just hits the creature. And with that, the guy currently in the creature's clutches is just going to begin to disengage as best he can from the creature and the giant, and begins to move backwards defensively. Roland, it's your turn again if you want to take another shot. Or
what a time to not have lightning bolt, DM.
So I would like to use my bonus action to do the insightful manipulator thing and see if I can get off something good on this horny guy.
Okay.
As I bonk him.
Insightful manipulator. That's just a
investigation versus deception.
Yeah.
And before this thing has more charisma than you.
Are you trying to send it to horny jail?
Yes. Bonk.
There
Go to
we
horny
go.
jail.
Except for I'm bonking with a long distance hole puncher.
There it is. Investigation.
That is a description for a rifle I have not heard before.
Really? The best of office supplies.
Okay. So, you learn that the creature is resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, as well as cold damage.
Hey, good to know. Also, good thing my rifle's magical.
Mm-hmm.
Kablow.
All right.
You're welcome again.
Making
Yes,
another
thank
attack
you.
with the bless and with the sneak, but just normal. Rifle shot. That'll still hit. For
Excellent.
another 23 points of damage.
Awesome.
Another shot rings through. It is then the creature's turn. And it is going to turn and begins to step around kind of Jasira and this knight. And we'll go ahead and make 2 swipes. One at the knight first, and then one at the Shalt, which hits.
All right.
And
One against the Shalt gets a silvery barbs.
Oh, okay. I'll roll again.
And then
That
I
was
will
higher.
give Sindri the advantage. I'm just gonna buff Big Sindri obscenely.
Okay. So
Less advantage and bardic inspiration.
the Shalt,
I
you
have a very large hammer to use it with.
You take 4 points of slashing damage from the claws. And I need, as it just begins to ring out this roar, I need for everybody to make me a wisdom saving throw. Jasira, Thashalt, and Boko have a disadvantage on this.
Is this well, I guess I'll discover what kind of effect this is. It's not like a paralysis or a petrification or stun, is it?
It is similar. What is your effect? Oh.
How does this work against it?
You have advantage on saving throws against poisons or against being... So yeah, so this would cancel out your disadvantage. So you just have a flat roll against it.
What kind of save is this again? Sorry, Con.
Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom. Okay, well, crap.
And
Yeah,
then
it's not
Jasira, Sindri, and I have bless for it. And Sindri has advantage.
Nicholas, is there a reason why you... Oh, you have advantage? Oh, from that... Gotcha, from the silvery barbs.
Yeah, from silvery barbs.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. All right, let me roll for Jasira at disadvantage. Wisdom saving throw. Oh, goodness.
The D4?
He does have an inspiration.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's roll
This might
one
be an
more
important
time. Well, got up to
Rats.
10. Okay, so we have Thashalt and Jasira are paralyzed. And I think that might be
Unfortunate.
it. With the advantage, Sindri is able to just barely save. Oh no, up at the top. Clyde and Boko are also paralyzed.
Clyde is not. His tooth magic
All right.
loses its luster for the day.
So Boko, Jasira, and Thashalt, those closest and suffering from the barbs, as they constrict within your body, you feel it lock up your muscles, and you are
Ow.
unable to move.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Do we get a save at the end of our turn?
You will see. Well, I guess
Thank you,
Boko, it is your turn.
If it makes you feel any better, you are no longer the universal crit recipient. You're just one of 3 now.
Yes, Boko, you can make this time. It is a first. Go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy.
At the start of your turn.
Disadvantage for proximity?
No, this one is not. This one is just a standard saving throw. Okay. You start to see strange things happening to the creature's face, but you kind of fight through whatever is coursing through your veins, and you push through. Now, that was at the beginning of your turn. At the end of your turn, go ahead and make a Constitution save to try and resist.
Is it for paralysis?
Yep.
Oof.
All right. Luckily, that is enough to save.
Ooh.
This creature seeming to have a strange semi-mental and physical attacks upon yourselves, but you do save, but that is the end of your turn.
You know what that means? It's not an automatic crit on me. He's going to have to roll a natural 20.
Got him.
The other knight is also locked into place, and he just begins to start mumbling under his breath. Not cohesive words. Thashalt, at the start of your turn, I need a wisdom saving throw.
All right. I assume this one probably isn't an advantage. Seems like something different.
Yes, this is something different. This
Cool.
is not a paralysis.
Awesome. All right,
Okay. And then from you, a Constitution saving throw at advantage.
cool. Oh, sick. Got that one.
Okay. So Thashalt, your body begins to loosen at the end of your turn. Cade, over to you. Colleen.
The knights are trying to fight the monster.
They were. One of them
One
has
ran.
has kind of retreated to a defensive position upon seeing the giant come in. The other one is currently paralyzed.
And peeing his pants.
So who is the monster chanting? Or is the good guy chanting?
Nobody is chanting. The monster howled, which was the paralysis effect.
Okay, I thought you said something about started chanting.
Oh, the knight that was paralyzed is mumbling under his breath.
Okay. I'm following now.
Sorry.
He's hallucinating.
Oh, lovely.
So after we kill this thing, we're harvesting the spines and having a good night.
Oh god. Okay, Cade peeks back around the wagon, having a good mental fortitude, and was like, fuck. Okay, and then we're just going for the 1-2 punch. Archer told the dead.
All right.
Man, it would be really nice to have like lesser restoration right now.
Go ahead and roll me that damage on... Oh, no, the archer doesn't actually... Oh, no, it does. It just hits. So go ahead and roll me on the damage on the archer, and the necrotic hits as well. So that's a total of 24 points of damage.
Nice.
Yep, a good old radiant necrotic blast. I'm seeing a theme with my characters. I like to do multiple types of damage in one round.
Hey, that's where the fun is. Jasira, currently locked up in paralysis, is going to make the wisdom save again, trying to fight back, and then the constitution save. So still paralyzed. And that'll bring us to Sindri.
All right, we're going. As I am continue my now slower and slower steps, so that I'm still only moving 30 feet somehow. I'm going to move the rest of the distance to the monster, and as I do, a massive stone hammer comes out of the ground. And I just kick off the ground and do a full 180 arc right onto the monster's head, where the hammer is just the size of it at this point, honestly.
Yeah, give me that attack roll.
We're going to beat him into the ground.
Giant
Railroad
time.
spike.
Giant time.
Alright. Sorry,
We all
my
know
character sheet
Flashstone.
is being... I don't know. It would be lovely implications if it means I can hit things next to them.
I really hope that I'm not.
All right, just not advantage, normal.
Yep.
Big hammer.
You do have a plus a D8 if you'd like to use your bardic inspiration I gave you last
And a D4
round.
from Bless.
Bless, yeah. So
Oh yeah, I have bless. Oh,
And I'm sorry, Austin. What's the symbol on me?
oh come on! Oh my god!
Did you roll 1 on blessed?
We rolled a 1 on Bless and on the inspiration from Bardic Inspiration for a total of 14,
14,
and he
one
needed a
shot.
15.
Austin,
Yeah.
evolving cantrips. Never
Second
mind,
hit.
cantrips. No, this is blessed. It's a spell.
Never mind.
I was thinking of guidance.
No.
There's part at some level guidance lets you reroll ones with the
Yeah.
evolving cantrips expansion.
Well,
It does, that's
regardless, the second one definitely hit, so go ahead and
I
roll me
think
damage.
it's important if the first one hits, because it is true with the evolving cantrips. I get to reroll 1.
No, it's not guidance. It's
It's a
bless.
spell.
So
Yeah.
it's not, it doesn't.
It's a level 1 spell.
All right. Anyway, and we're going to action surge after this, so I'm just going to do that because I don't know if I'm going to lose my concentration or get frozen. So we're going to hit quickly.
Yeah.
Seismic whip.
All right. Boop, boop,
Good thing
boop.
Boko isn't there.
All right. So for the first one, that's 22 bludgeoning.
It's not even
plus
the natural
nat
20. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's not the nat 20. So that's first one, and then the nat 20 is the first hit, so it gets the extra giant mites damage. So I get to leave that on.
Wait, what is
So-
the 66 from?
That's the enlarged weapon thing that you have agreed upon, which is why my hammer normally did 46, but I'm huge, so it's 66.
I don't know if it's. Well, we might have to take a look at that, but for this, it's not going to much matter. If you can,
It's a fucking pancake.
if you can
wait,
just
that-
paste me that and refresh my memory of what that is.
Okay. It's why my hammer's been 46 this whole time as a large creature.
But regardless,
yeah.
with these
I'll send it to you later.
massive slams, Sentry, how do you want to do this?
Very nice.
I just run up, and the first hits just goes wide, as I'm not used to being this big with this basically just
Yeah, just crunches into one of the houses. Yeah.
yeah, just pick it back up and this time, and the second hit just flattens him into the ground, and just kind of you see a hand just slowly raise up, and then the second hit comes down until there's just a crater around him and the pile of mush.
So, Sindri, as you slam down, you feel a small pop as it seems this creature had an after-death effect where it exploded, but is just completely smothered by the weight of your hammer and just crunched down into mush in this crater that you have created. And you just are hulking out, just breathing in heavily, just... and as
Say we were to try and collect some of them.
It's just a huge, low reverberating yell from this just giant monstrosity. And the guy, if we were to just turn towards me now.
Would you say if we were to try and collect some of this devil that it would be like putting conditioner into a toothpaste?
Oh my god.
as you all are trying to kind of gain your wits about you and react to the absolute just demolishing that you just saw, you look over, or Boku, you look over at Thashalt, and his eyes are just this bloodshot red, just pulsing with energy as he pulls down that hydro blade and begins to rush at you.
Oh boy.
That is where we're going to leave off the session for tonight.
Ah, fuck.
So thank you all for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
Why is it always...